Yo, Tara, what's up?
Every day, people are fighting type 2 diabetes with fitness, food, and the pill that starts.
Oh yeah, it was one of them days. I swear, it was one of those days.
Icon disconnected. Red.
But hey, keep your head up, ooh, child. Things are gonna get easier. Keep your head up, ooh, child. Things will get bright. Oh, oh. Gotta keep that head up.
Icon disconnected.
Why won't it fucking connect to the iPhone?
Connected to iPhone.
Put it in another way, everything that comes to you is a return to you of what goes out of you.
I love listening to these. Just some small technical difficulties. That's all. You know, nothing major, nothing to cry over.
We would say with Hindus and Buddhists that if I run into a catastrophe, it is my karma.
This is gonna make everything.
You see, that means far more than that it is a punishment for something I did wrong in the past. That is a legalistic view of karma. But a naturalistic or organic view of karma is, in fact, that what happens to me is what I do. And that in a certain sense, I want what happens to me. We can use want. Notice how we use this word. It means to desire and it means to lack or to need. We say to somebody, you're wanting. You're deficient in something. So it's rather alarming, really, when you consider it, that you always get what you want. Invariably. Even though you may think that it's entirely opposed to your wishes.
You just want to chill. You just want to chill. You just want to chill with the boy. Holy shit.
But if it's your karma, everything that happens to you, put it in another way, everything that comes to you is a return to you of what goes out of you. Yes, obviously, that's absurd. If you confine the definition of yourself to your voluntary, conscious behavior, that's a ridiculous definition of oneself. Oneself, by any stretch of the imagination, must involve far more than the conscious and voluntary aspects of our behavior.
Peace. Oh yeah, we is in here. What up, money?
And
Money,
if we
money.
see that it involves intimately and
So I
inescapably
still got some more time to work on
the
this
behavior
because
of what we call
the
the
other
environment.
project that I'm working on
And see
isn't
that
dry
these
yet.
two are moving together like the two sides of the snake when it swims. Then you get a very curious feeling. You have to be careful of it. If you've got a Western
I
background.
offer.
Because this is what happens to a lot of people who play around with psychedelic chemicals. There are many, many cases of inflation among these people. That is to say, when you get this sensation that the inside and the outside are moving together, you may think, I am ruling it.
Oh yeah.
I am God in the Western sense of the word. Therefore, your ego, instead of being, as it were, integrated and transcended with all this process, merely assumes vast dimensions, is blown up by the mystical experience.
That shit running like hell. Oh yeah, it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. Come on, camera. See, that's why I don't like PlayStation camera. I don't like you, PlayStation camera. You too wobbly for me. Oh, that boy drinking coffee at night. Watch out now. Must be trying to make some moves. Motherfucker drinking coffee at night. Ah, delicious. Nope. Nah. But that's the thing though, they got me on that. They put me on that holding agreement, so I mean, I can almost understand. Well, I really can't understand because I've never been in that industry, but just assuming like it's probably a lot to put a network TV show together. And Vice has been doing a lot of shit. They just gave Tyler the Creator his own show. Ain't no telling how long that show was in development before it started to air, and there was a couple new shows that just came out on Vice as well. So, you know, if they wanted a show for me, I'm pretty sure it's a lot of planning and development in it. But the simple fact that they asked me to sign a 12-month holding agreement stating that, you know, I won't audition for any other networks or any other television shows, shows me that they see some type of potential in my personality that could offer a different viewing audience to their brand, you know. So just waiting. You know, if the whole 12 months go by and I never hear anything back from them, then hey, it is what it is. But I feel like this, you know what I'm saying? A network television stepped to me and said, hey, we're doing a show and you seem like the perfect host for this show. I didn't sign up for anything. I didn't fill out any applications. I didn't go to any fucking auditions. I didn't ask for that shit. You know, they came to me and wanted to interview me and talk to me and gave me a holding contract. So if nothing ever comes of it, at least that much has come from it. You know, somebody somewhere recognized some sort of potential, and they try to act on it. So, hooray for me. Spark up. I'll be like, yo, if they do call me, hey, Mr. Prince, this is Viceland. We were gonna move forward with that TV show. I'm sorry, I'm already doing something with 50 Cent. We're gonna put a show out on BET. Oh yeah, you know, but ain't no telling. Positive thoughts, positive energy. That's all it is. Positive thoughts, positive energy. You know what I'm saying? Do I feel like I'm the best candidate? Hell yeah. Do I feel like these motherfuckers should give me an opportunity to be on national TV in front of the fucking world? Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Will it come to pass? I think so. I think so. I think they're gonna hold me on the back burner for a while, and then some executive producer is gonna be like, whatever happened to that art show we were developing? Oh, I gotta call that dude Travis. Hey, Travis, are you still available? And I'd be like, yeah. Can you talk quick? I got a meeting in like 20 minutes. What's up? Well, we really wanted to fly you out to New York next week, and so you can meet with our executive producers and some of the directors and everything, and kind of get a feel for what we're doing, one-on-one sit-downs, and we'll pay for all your expenses. And next week, let me check my schedule real quick. Yeah, I think I can do next week. It might be tight, but you know, I guess I have to rearrange some previous engagements I had committed myself to. But it's no big deal. And then people wonder why I talk to myself. It's actually helpful talking to yourself and having conversations as if you're talking to someone else. That way you can talk yourself through it of what may possibly be said or what could be said and how you would react to said statement or question. I'm just trying to give a reason why I talk to myself sometimes. It's okay. That's what I keep thinking too. Like, man, this shit probably won't even fly over. And the next thing I know, somebody is inviting me to fucking Italy to do like some motherfucking art conference and have my own museum show or some shit that just like rockets me to that next level. Oh well. What? Oh yeah. So Wolf. That's you. Oh, that's Beast. That's Hicks. Ain't nobody but Beast, yo. That's all you use is the shotgun because you ain't got no fucking aim. I be going 27-2 with a shotgun. I went 30 and 13 with a shotgun. Ain't nobody, bruh, watch your mouth, bruh. Come on now. I keep that shit handy. That shit don't never leave from the side of the PlayStation. Watch out now. This is the studio. This is for art and education. It's not really for gaming, you know. They go to PS4, the Pro, but you don't see no stacks of games. Ain't no games nowhere in the studio. This ain't no game room. But I keep these up here just in case. Just in case it has to turn to a game room. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, these are the only 2 games in here. I don't use no shotguns. All right. The MTAR, nigga. What's up? Let's go head up with the MTAR. Or, it don't matter, man. AK-12? What? It don't matter, yo. I use motherfucking carbines, yo. You already know that's my favorite category. I'll pull out that MTAR. It won't do that. I'm choking on my own spit. Shit. The MTAR. Some Claymores. The 1911. And I'm going to use my support class, so I have infinite ammo. I got you, beast. I got you, bruh. I got you, bruh. Okay. You know what? I can fuck with you. I got that Absolver. Yo, no lie. For people who haven't played Absolver, I haven't been like bragging about a game in a long time. And I'm pretty sure this Absolver craze is going to wear off in like the next week or 2. But for right now, like, it is a dope ass game. No lie, yo. It's not... It's different and it's the same, just like every other game. If you've been gaming as long as I have, I'm 36. I've been gaming since I was like 6 years old. You know, I got 30 fucking years under my belt. So I've seen almost everything. And, but this Absolver game, it takes a lot of cool features, put it into not an open world, but a linear open world, almost like Destiny, sort of. But it's, dude, try it. Just play it for like a couple hours, bro. Try it. The best thing about it is it's a kung fu fighting game, and it has the kind of play style that I really like, yo. If you ever played Soul Calibur, those are that's my favorite PvP fucking fighter series. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, for me it was Soul Calibur, and a lot of people didn't like Soul Calibur because they liked the other games, but Soul Calibur had a dash function where you fought 360. You can go around your character and get them from the back, and you can dodge and duck and dip around, all the way around each other, yo. And it was, the first time I played that shit, I was like, oh shit, because it's not just like flat, like Street Fighter, you just coming at each other like this. Like, you're really doing some shit like this. And then Ready to Die started it, and then Tekken started doing it, and then a lot of other games picked up that feature. But the fighting style is like that. But exactly. So if you like the fighting style from Soul Calibur, bro, now think of this. All right, Soul Calibur. You know how you can create a character on Soul Calibur, but when you create a character, you have to pick one of the existing characters' fighting style. Okay, you gotta fight like Maxi, or you gotta fight like Mitsurugi, you know. But imagine if you could create a character on Soul Calibur and pick a move or whatever moves you want from each individual character. So I'm gonna take Kalik's windmill kick. I'm gonna use his kick. I'm gonna get Maxi's nunchuck spin. I'm gonna use that shit. I'm gonna get motherfucking Taki's her backflip kick. I'm gonna use that move and take all these separate moves and then build your own move list. And that's what fucking Absolver is, bro. It gives you like 60 moves or 80 moves, but you can only hold like 16 of them. You can only hold 16 moves at a time. And so it's how you build your fucking deck. Okay, so now you got your deck of moves, and now you got to build your character. Your armor, if you want high armor for more durability but slower speed, less armor for more speed, then you got to build up your strength, your stamina, your will, and then all that plays a different effect. And then it's yo, it's fucking cool as shit, yo. It's cool. So I'm building a fast character. You know, I got fucking high strength but fast speeds. I wear light armor, and all of my attacks are like fast punches, fast jabs, like roundhouse kicks. But in order to even learn, you start out, you only know 4 moves. And it's cool how you learn a move. It's like you don't know, what's one of the old sayings? You don't truly know someone until you fight them, or some shit like that, some old Japanese shit. But now, in order to learn moves, you gotta fight motherfuckers. And it takes a minute. Like, so, say you want to learn the hook punch. So you go in the world, you find some enemies. One of the enemies, he keep throwing this fucking hook punch at you, but you gotta block it, or you gotta dip and dodge it. And every time you dip it, it's like you learn it a little bit. And you do it enough, and then you unlock that move. You want to learn the sweep kick. You find an enemy who uses one of the sweep kick as one of their moves. You fight this motherfucker. Every time they throw that kick, you dodge that shit. You dip that shit. You build that shit up and you learn it. Boom, you unlock that move. Now you go to your deck, and then then you build your combos the way you want it. You can have your sweep kick at the front, in the middle, or the end. You know what I'm saying? You can punch, kick. You can kick, punch. However you want to set that shit up, yo. I'm telling you, yo. It is. That's the only thing. It's like the world is fucking linear as fuck, yo. Like, oh my God. It is so fucking linear. It's fucking crazy. It's just like a roadway. You just gotta follow the same fucking path through the whole fucking map. Like, that's the only thing, the fucking drawback to that shit, yo. Grand Theft Auto, like I said, I've been gaming forever. Once Grand Theft Auto left the PC and it came to PS1, Grand Theft Auto 3, that first time, yo, and they had the open world sandbox, that shit changed gaming for me. After that shit, I really don't like playing linear games or board level games no more, yo. It's like, what studio made Devolver? Which is crazy, like it almost sounds like the name of the game. Devolver, Absolver. I gotta paint. I'm in here running my fucking mouth. But try that shit, yo. It's only $30. I got a video on my Facebook page I put up there the other day, and just from that a little bit of playthrough, a couple people like, yo, I'm buying that shit, yo. I'm telling you, the fighting, yo, and you can spam if you want to. If you really want to, you can just pop, and spam a combo. But I see, like, now, like, the real players, this shit is getting fucking tactical as shit. Motherfuckers be trying to get perfect KOs and all kind of shit. You go in there, you already know your moves, you done practice your shit. You don't know what this next motherfucker using. He might have some of the power mixed with some of the iron fist. You don't know this motherfucker turn his back to you. And, like, he looking at you, but so you can change your stances too. That's another good thing, yo. You got 4 different ways. You can come at him fucking southpaw, right hand. You have your back to him, over your right shoulder, over your left shoulder, and still be prepared for an attack or a defense. So you can have a motherfucker with their back to you, and they walking to you backwards. You don't know what the fuck this motherfucker about to throw. He gonna kick, he gonna parry, he gonna what? So you gotta throw your shit, back, back up, dodge. I be really trying to wait now to see what I let motherfuckers attack first, yo, just to see what kind of moves they got, to see what kind of deck they done built, to see how fast they are. Cause I had this one dude, yo, this motherfucker had all heavy gear on, and he was slow as shit, but he must have put his strength, like all his points was on his strength. Yo, this motherfucker hit you like 3 times, but that should take a quarter of your fucking health out. I was like, God damn. I'm trying to dodge all his shit. He was, like I said, he was slow. I got him because he was so damn slow. But damn, his fucking, he built the little fucking tank character, yo. Like, what the fuck? All right. Yeah, it is. I'm telling you, building your deck, leveling up. It's only one-on-one, yo. You just go in there, go up against somebody else, and see if your deck and your moves, and make sure you done fucking learned all your moves and memorize your shit the way you put them shits together, and see who win. But you already know, like, it's been out for a week, so there's like thousands of motherfuckers who done mastered this shit, like those real gamer nerds who haven't slept since the bitch came out, and all they do is play the game. I went up against some dude, he's like, I was a level 11. This dude was level 103. What the fuck, bro? It's only been out for a week. How the fuck are you on level 103? Have you not turned this bitch off? This whole fucking time, have you not slept? Did you eat? Did you at least snack on something nutritious? Fuck, it took me 4 days just to get past level 10. And I was off work, you know what I'm saying? Those were my days off, and I put like a couple hours in at that shit. Fire wire. But I have no friends online who has that shit, yo. You know how you click on the game, like the profile of the game, and you can press down and see who's playing it? Like, nobody I know plays that shit. I'm hoping somebody I know will play that shit so I can fucking bust they ass.
That was the better part of wisdom. In other words, if he hadn't done that, something worse would have happened.
You know what I really like? I like that pink right there. I don't know what the fuck this is. It's abstract. That's all I'ma say. It's grass, but it's abstract grass. But it's pretty though. And it's textured, like you can feel it. And then there's these pink droplets that are coming from
We
the
choose
pink
the lesser of
clouds.
two evils. And when you find yourself in a situation where you
like how that
have
looks.
to choose the lesser of two evils, then you say, I want out of here. And you take the easiest way. You take the line of least resistance. So that's your doing. Now, you can pursue that more profoundly when you stop thinking about human behavior as something that responds to the compulsion of an environment. And you can get out of that when you see the behavior of the environment as an essential aspect of you. So it isn't, as it were, the environment starting something, which you are therefore compelled to follow. It's the whole system moving together. So then, you get in the state of liberated or mystical consciousness. You very often feel that a hill is lifting you up as you walk up it. The ground seems to heave beneath your feet, and up you go. And you get this strange feeling of lightness, of effortlessness. Walking on air, never a care, you know. This wonderful sense that there are no obstructions anywhere. There's nothing, as it were, banging you and making you do that. It all flows together. And that's a very common sense. You are actually, in that state of consciousness, you are perceiving the goings-on, the Tao, the course of nature, in the way it's happening. But in the ordinary way, you've been conditioned to resist it, to fight it, and to use those sensations of resistance to create a sensory basis for what you describe as the ego. The ego, in practice, is a sense of strain. When you are aware of I, you are aware of a basic discomfort, which is located basically between the eyes, somewhere in here, a sort of tightness. Also, it's in other centers too, it's in the solar plexus, and there are various physical centers, in other words, where this constant tension or resistance against it is going on. And that's what you feel when you talk about I. When that tension ceases, you discover immediately that the separate ego has disappeared, and that what I refers to is simply the total panorama of experience, everything that's happening. That's I. Obviously, I don't know all of it, because I can't inspect all of it with my radar, with my conscious attention. That would be a ridiculous undertaking, to know everything in that sense. We know it in a much better way, as we know how to grow hair and open and close our hands. So, this point of view can be understood if we clarify the initial problems we have about it. And I suppose the first problem is, if we accept the notion that everything that happens to us is our own karma, our own doing, then we have to be very careful of, shall we say, the devil of omnipotence, of inflation, of feeling that your ego is what is in control of all this. second thing is, if you think then that everything that happens to everybody is what they really want to happen, then you can absolve yourself from any qualms about being unkind to someone, because you could say, well, the unkindness I did you was what you really wanted, wasn't it? You know that business about the responsibility of the person who gets murdered for getting murdered? There is a curious sense in which a lot of people go around looking for trouble. Freud pointed out quite correctly the psychology of accident-prone individuals. They seem to be attracting
gingerbread
trouble like lights attract moths. And we're all doing that, but we manage to remain unconscious of it, so that we can praise and blame and play the game which says, that's not my fault, that's your fault. And so we go around apportioning faults to everybody. Because if we're going to apportion praise for what the good things people do, you can't make praise mean anything unless you also go around blaming.
Let's get that music cranking, yeah. Good vibes, good vibes, good vibes, good vibes.
Praise and blame go together. Supposing everybody was acting in a praiseworthy way, and we praised everybody for everything, they'd get tired of it. They wouldn't even notice it anymore. So long as you're going to get a kick out of being praised, you've got to go around blaming too. It's very simple. But if you see the folly of that praising and blaming are just creating each other, then you don't praise and you don't blame. You just dig the whole thing. And that's why, when we encounter very great sages, you never hear them blame people, and they very rarely praise anyone. You try to start gossip in the presence of such a person, and you make a derogatory comment about someone. It's as if you had thrown a rock into a well and heard no splash. A funny feeling, because that you get no response, you get no agreement. And if you praise somebody, there's also likely nothing to be said, except perhaps some remark that, of course, you're praising the beloved in all its manifestations. This disconcerts some people terribly. I've always noticed that real sages never gossip, never criticize persons. And because they understand so well. The French saying, tout comprendre, c'est tout pardonner. To understand all is to forgive all. Is so true if you are experienced in just the ordinary way of dealing with human problems. You've been a counselor or psychotherapist or minister or anything like that. You very soon get to realize how vastly complicated people are. And to see that they really are in the messes they're in, not because of anything, but that's the way it is. You stop blaming people, and because you don't blame people, you have open ears, and people come and seek your advice. They don't want to come to someone who's a counselor who will bawl them out. It's like dentists who simply accept the fact that people really don't take care of their teeth, and realize that the job of a dentist is precisely to look after people who can't be bothered to take care of their teeth. That's why he's in business. So a good dentist doesn't bawl his patients out because they didn't do this, that, and the other. Just accept it. Same with doctors. They know perfectly well that nobody's going to live by the rules of health. And they're very vague as to what they are. And, you know, there's every kind of theory about how you ought to live and what is healthy, but they change in fashion. And you ought to eat this kind of diet in 1921. By the time it's 1930, they've changed their ideas altogether. By the time it's 1960, it's back again to a mixture between 1921 and 1894. Something like that. You see, it's always changing. So, while the rules are not so... You see, if they were all absurd, it would be easy. But they're not all absurd. There's some truth in it, always. But nobody's ever quite sure. function of healers and doctors and so on is just to do what can be done to stop the mess getting too messy. And they must accept it as that. That's their job. If I were healthy, say to the doctor, I wouldn't need you. So you're in business. Now, what about it then? We have difficulty in seeing this mutuality of our relationship to the rest of the world because it's contrary to common sense, contrary to the way we've been brought up. Therefore, we have what I would call an initial intellectual block to understanding, quite apart from any emotional blocks or anything of that kind. But obviously, we must overcome that intellectual block if we're going to go any further and actually realize and feel this way of life's working, this relationship between what you do and what happens to you. How, past the middle of the 20th century, there's very strong evidence of a revival in Western philosophy of what used to be called idealism, not in the moral sense, but in the metaphysical sense. That is to say, of the feeling that the external world is in some way a creation of the mind. We come to this point of view with very different assumptions than were held by people like Hegel or Berkeley or Bradley, great idealists of the European metaphysical tradition, and probably rather more akin to similar trends in Buddhist philosophy emerging from India about 400 AD. The difference of approach, the difference of the way in which today this thing arises, and the way in which it arose in the thought of a man like Bishop Berkeley, is that the new idealism has a kind of curiously physical basis. When one would argue, everything you know is in your mind, And the distance, the feeling of externality between you and other objects and people is also a content of consciousness. And therefore it's all your consciousness. This, of course, created all sorts of weird feelings. Are things there when I'm not witnessing them? Or is there anybody else there? Or are you all my personal dream? And one has only to imagine a conference of such people, of solipsists, those who believe that they alone exist, arguing as to which one of them is really there, to make the whole idea rather laughable. Furthermore, there seemed to be no clarity in such philosophical thinking as to what the term mind or consciousness meant. Mind and soul and spirit were always vague and formless. And matter, by contrast, was very rugged, craggly. These two ever influenced each other, nobody ever could decide. Because all properly behaved ghosts walk straight through brick walls without disturbing either the bricks or the ghost. And so how can a mind incarnate in a material body move that body in any way? This was always a puzzle. So people began to think that the differentiation between mind and matter was of no use. Because actually what happens in making such a differentiation is that you impoverish both sides of it. It's the same way when you get a mystic who's not a bit of a sensualist, and a sensualist is no whit of a mystic. Such a sensualist is boring. Such a mystic is a fanatic, too spiritual. It's the same when we divide the medical profession from the priesthood. Both are losers. Not just because they lose their so-called opposite half, but the problem is when you separate a doctor from a priest, you do more than create a specialization out of what was originally one field. You create two specializations. Because a priest-physician is more than a priest plus a physician. By having, as it were, the binocular vision from medicine and from religion, he just doesn't see two added areas. He sees the area in 3 dimensions as a result of this combination. Well, in a similar way, when we have the concepts of mind and matter working separately, both are impoverished. Mind becomes vague, kind of gas, psychic gas, and matter becomes mere stuff. And then furthermore, to observe something, either simply by looking at it, or more so by making experiments, by doing science on it, you alter what you're looking at. You cannot carry out an observation without in some way interfering with what you observe. It is this that we try when we're watching, say, the habits of birds, to be sure that the birds don't notice us, that we're watching. To watch something, it must not know you're looking. And of course, what you ultimately want to do is to be able to watch yourself without knowing that you're looking. Then you can really catch yourself not on your best behavior and see yourself as you really are. But this can never be done. And likewise, the physicist cannot simultaneously establish the position and the velocity of very minute particles or wavicles. And it's in part because the experiment of observing nuclear behavior alters and affects what you're looking at. This is one side of it. The inseparability of man and his world, which deflates the myth of the objective observer, standing aside and observing a world that is merely mechanical, a thing that operates like a machine out there. Science of neurology, we understand so clearly now that the kind of world we see is relative to the structure of the sense organ. That, in other words, what that used to be called the qualities of the external world, its qualities of weight or color, texture, and so on, are possessed by it only in relation to a perceiving organism. The very structure of our optical system confers light and color upon outside energy. And in this sense, then, especially if you want to read a very easily digestible account of this thing, you get the book by J.Z. Young called Doubt and Certainty in Science. But you see, here from a new basis altogether, we have a new answer to the old riddle. If a tree falls in the forest when nobody is listening, does it make a noise? The answer in terms of modern science is perfectly clear. That the falling tree creates vibrations in the air, and these become noise if and only if they relate to an eardrum and to an auditory nervous system. Just as in ordinary drums, however hard you hit, the drum will make no sound if it has no skin. Because sound is not something that exists in the external world. Sound is a relationship between vibrating air and certain kinds of biological organisms. And therefore it is these organisms which confer what we call sound upon a vibration which in an earless world would make no noise. Now you see, that is perfectly clear and straightforward. But now we can dare we take certain steps from that? Could we say, for example, that before any organisms existed, there was no world? And what we're talking about when we talk about a world prior to the existence of organisms is what is called an extrapolation. Explain extrapolation for a moment. Supposing you have a map of Kansas, and you want, from the evidence contained in the map, to guess at what kind of territory lies beyond its edges. Well, naturally, you will extend those straight line roads, off and off and off. That's the only basis you've got to go on. Nothing in the map of Kansas would warn you that a little way west you will encounter the Rocky Mountains. The roads will have to wiggle. And still less will warn you that you're going to encounter the Pacific Ocean way out beyond, where you can't build any roads. So naturally, you see, extrapolation, we extrapolate from what we know to the unknown. And so one might say then, is the existence of a universe before there were any living organisms an extrapolation? All we are saying is this is how things would have been if we had been around. But we weren't, so it wasn't. That is a possible argument. Although in the climate of opinion today, it is one that is not fashionable. You must watch out above all for fashion in philosophy, fashion in science. There are completely irrational functions that govern what is or what is not a respectable scientific opinion. And although there is very careful work done, very valuable and thoughtful experimentation, always in the background of this work, there are these irrational fashions of what is believable and what is not. Many things that we accept today were completely unbelievable. We are always coming across this. Authoritative pronouncements that no one will ever reach the moon because of uncontrovertible evidence about this, that, and the other. But nowadays we have swung over perhaps to be a little bit too uncritical. And as Norbert Wiener warned in his book, The Human Use of Human Beings, we must not take science as a sort of fairy godmother and say, well, we have all these problems of overpopulation and lack of water and so on, but science will solve it, don't worry. So that's the other extreme. But there are these fashions. If I can possibly realize that the way the world is evoked by the structure of my organism.
I almost caught it.
It is that way. All mountains and suns and moons and stars are the inhabitants of a strictly human world. Perhaps insects, with their different sense organs, have a very different universe, and that is an insect universe. This is, again, it seems to be a recrudescence of what used to be called the pathetic fallacy, which was the attribution of human qualities and emotions to natural phenomena. The wind sighs in the trees. My heart is sad. And somebody comes along and says, it isn't the wind that's sighing, it's you. True and not true. Because you wouldn't be able to sigh if there were no wind. And you sighing and wind blowing go with each other. And sighing wind goes with a same world in which there are human hearts and human emotions. And if there were not a world with human hearts and emotions, there would be no wind. And if there were no wind, air, there would be no human hearts and emotions. It's a transaction. It's reciprocity. Every event, then, in the external world is as dependent on the observer for its happening as, for example, is a rainbow. The sun is shining and there's moisture in the atmosphere. The sun being at the right angle to the moisture makes a rainbow. And if somebody is there, they see the rainbow. That is a mythology, a way of putting things that is acceptable to us in the current climate of philosophical and scientific fashion. But I want to put it in another way. The sun is shining, and there is a person standing. If there were moisture in the atmosphere, there would be a rainbow. But there isn't. So there is no rainbow. If you want to be fair, there is no rainbow if nobody is watching it, you see. And what applies to the tenuous, filmy, luminescent rainbow applies equally well to the hardest rocks, the solidest mountains, and the hottest fires. Because all existence is a relationship. It's like the skin of the drum. If it's not there, it will no amount of hitting a non-existent skin will produce any noise. So you see, energy is, we can see this, energy is relationship. We can see the falling fist and the skin of the drum, boing, like that. And if there isn't both the falling fist and the skin, no noise, no existence. But existence is not only the impact of rocks upon each other. Existence requires, always as its third, you can get the rocks knocking, the sun and the moisture, the tree crashing to the ground, the sun pouring out electrical energy. But none of these things constitute existence until related with the neurological complex. Then you have to look backwards and say at the same time, the neurological complex belongs to the same world as the sun. It's a physical pattern, physical behavior, physical energy. But it takes this complexity of pattern to evoke the world. See, this idea is unfamiliar. And that's the difficulty of understanding it. Oh, very simple
God
idea.
damn you, PlayStation camera.
It's an unfamiliar one.
You're always falling back here. Like that's where you
Although, as I
live.
say, this sort of thinking is coming back to us at this time. One gets the perfectly uncanny feeling.
Alright guys, it's almost 9 o'clock and I still have 2 more days of work to go. So, I'm going to cut the stream, I'm going to go have me some dinner, and take my ass to bed. Because I'm already feeling oh shit. I did get a little bit more done though. So all of her skin is now complete. I got her, there's very little bit of her hand you can see, just a few fingers and you know, a little bit of arm right there. So that's done. Started working on her necklace and it's down to shirt, book, hair. And then this piece will be done. I'm still gonna take my time on it because this is a very lovely piece. And when it's done, masterpiece. Brushes away, make sure everything's clean. I'm notorious for putting brushes away with paint on it. Coming back the next day like, who the fuck did that? Like someone else was in here playing with my brushes. Anyway. Alright, I'm good. Oh yeah. About to go eat, play the game for a minute. Yo, thanks for stopping by. You're awesome. Peace. Until next time.